And welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game, you were watching. So you're allowed to have an opinion as well. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe, okay, comment. Helps with the algorithm and the growth of the channel. We would love to spread this football 101 information to the Browns community. In my opinion, they hear enough of the garbage and the narratives. Believe every now and again you could kind of use some realism to bring you back down to earth. Let's get into it. We just gonna do a quick review of the game this past Sunday between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. This may end up actually being one of the last game reviews that I do for the remainder of this year. Truth be told, the main reason it probably be the last one for this year. Now, it's not for certain. I might end up doing another one. But it's just because, I'm seeing the same thing. No matter what quarterback's out there, no matter who's calling the plays, me personally, I keep seeing the same thing. So it's just like at this point, I'm beating a dead horse all the way around the board at this point. So let's get into it. First play of the game. Very huge run by Jerome Ford. Gets us all the way down to the red zone, maybe around about the 10-yard line, somewhere around there, something like that. Then we run another run play. Good job. And then we do a quarterback draw. Decent call. You do got DTR in there, and I was the one who said before, because everybody, we got to see what we got in DTR. And I'm like, well, I mean, I know it's been limited, but I kind of know what we got in DTR. He's a scramble guy. That's a turnover machine. Just like Jameis Winston was, he's a turnover machine. He throws interceptions, and really his only upside or bright side or talent is being mobile. And like I said before, you can't run quarterback draw every play. But anyway, like I said, we get down to the 10-yard line. We run another run play. Then we do a quarterback draw. Puts us at 3rd and 2. I believe Cincinnati calls a timeout on this 3rd and 2. Then when we come back out after the timeout, so we show one formation initially. Then Cincinnati calls timeout. When we come back out, we've switched our formation. We're running a different play than the play we were running before Cincinnati called timeout. In my opinion, I'm finna run my play. I don't care that you call timeout, and I'm finna run my play. It is what it is. So they switched the play up, or at least switched the formation, which leads me to believe that they switched the play. And then on this play, this 3rd and 2, kind of torn between the two as far as the decision that was made, because on this 3rd and 2 near the goal line, they run the ball with Deontay Foreman. Now here's why I'm torn between. Oh, first of all, let me say Deontay Foreman fumbles the ball at the goal line. Yeah. Points taken off the board yet again. Deontay Foreman fumbles at the goal line. So here's why I'm torn between the two. As far as the decision was made. Either I'm for the decision or against it. I'm torn in between the two. Because on one hand, I'm for the decision because it's like, wow, you finally were using a player as for what they're designed for, like for what they're supposed to be used for. Because before you was using Deontay Foreman as a punt/kick returner. And that's not what he is. He's a short down, short yardage back. That's what he is. So on one hand, it's like, oh, wow, you finally used a player doing what he's good at instead of taking that player and trying to make him do something else. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you finally did something that made sense. But on the other hand, you haven't been using him to do this all year long. So why did you decide to do this? Why now? Why now? Like, why now? In my opinion, Jerome Ford, the one got you all the way down there. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. He the one that got you all the way down there. Just give him the ball. Or do what you used to do when you had Watson as the starter and bring Jameis Winston in and run the Jameis package and have him just do a QB sneak. Because that's what you used to do when we had Watson as the starter. You used to take him out on 3rd and short, 4th and short, take him out, put Winston in to run a quarterback sneak. So I was kind of torn between the two. On one end, it's like you finally used a player for what they're used for. But on the other hand, why do it now? Like, why? We haven't been doing this all year long. All year long, we haven't been putting Deontay Foreman in the game in short yardage situations and letting him plow forward like we never did. We haven't done that. So why did we decide to do it now? I don't understand. And then ultimately, bam, fumble, squander away points, just like the offense always seems to do. In my opinion, this deflates the defense because how are you starting off a game like that? If I'm the defense, you're looking at it like, ooh, wait a minute, they're about to score. Oh, first play. Oh, it's lit. It's about to go down. And then next thing you know, when you turn your head to look over here to see what defense you getting ready to run, or, because you're getting ready to go out here, you thinking it's about to be, an extra point kick after you score this touchdown. You're like, all right, let me get ready for special teams. You turn your head to grab your helmet. And then the next thing you know, they telling you, nah, we fumbled on the goal line. Defense, first team defense got to get out there. You like, what? I thought we was just on the goal line. What happened? Right, exactly. So that deflates the defense. Defense ends up giving up a 99-yard touchdown drive. I believe it was a pass to T. Higgins. So again, yeah, defense gave up the points, but whether I'm agreed with or not, I don't necessarily fault the defense for that. I would be upset too. You mean tell me we got all the way to the goal line? We got to the goal line, not just the red zone. We got to the goal line and you still found a way to mess it up, huh? Man, I don't want to go out here and play defense. Man, I don't feel like stopping nobody. For what? We get all the way to the goal line and still can't score. So anyway, defense ends up giving up that 7 points. All right, next drive for the Browns. Couple notable plays on this particular drive. We get a sack because we get ready to run this run play, and the defense reads the run play so well that they end up sacking the quarterback before he could even hand the ball off. Ends up leading to a punt. Offense doesn't really do anything. Defense ends up stopping the Bengals, holds them to a field goal that was actually missed by former Browns kicker Cade York. We'll revisit that though, because at that moment it was like a ha-ha, Cade York, ha-ha-ha. But he ended up getting the last laugh. So they missed the field goal. We get the ball back. We get a DTR sack. Dorian Thompson-Robinson gets sacked on first down. Commentators start talking about quote unquote, and I didn't agree with this. They was just trying to say something to try to help the game be more, people who are not fans of either one of these teams, like help them to be more interested in the game, if you will. But the commentators start talking about getting production from this offense when Winston, had kind of took over the reins. And when people use the word production, I think you shouldn't use that word. It's misleading. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say production, really all that means is just, well, yeah, you started to accumulate yardage. You started accumulating yardage. The problem was that yardage accumulation didn't turn into an accumulation of wins. That yardage accumulation turned into an accumulation of turnovers. That's pretty much the only thing we got out of the accumulation of yardage. We had 2 games, maybe out of the 7, 2 or 3 games, 3 max. But it was between 2 and 3 games where, it was just nice production, and just everything looked pretty good. 2 games out of 7, that's terrible. Especially when all of the rest of the games is full of interceptions. Like they're just full of interceptions. Even one of the games where we saying that you did good was full of interceptions. Like it was just interception after interception, bad throw after bad throw. So I felt like that was misleading, to say that. Moving on. Mind you, I just want to remind you, still 7-0 at this time. All right. We get the ball in the second quarter with about 13 minutes and 14 seconds on the clock. Reason I wrote that down is because Prochet finally fielded a punt. Great job by him, not muffing the punt. And great job by us for having the same guy returning in back-to-back weeks. We didn't put a new guy out there, put somebody else out there. They didn't send me out there this week. Okay, on this particular drive after the punt, 2nd and 8, we get another sack on Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So yet again, all of the speaking of, and I'm starting to think Quincy be watching my stuff low key a little bit and trying to like tailor his takes, to some of the crazy stuff he said that I've pointed out. He's kind of turned to say, Winston has this elite pocket presence, and you kind of can't really expect other quarterbacks to have that, because that in particular, he's elite at. But when you were piling on Deshaun Watson, you made it seem like this is something that every quarterback should have, this elite pocket presence like that. When in reality, the offensive line could just block better. Like that could be what it is. Just block better. How about that? And then you don't have to have all this elite pocket awareness and all that. If you just block better. If you did your job, you wouldn't make the other man's job harder. If you just block better. So yet again, we're taking sacks. This is without Deshaun Watson as the quarterback. We're taking sacks because the offensive line can't block, for a quarterback that does not have elite pocket presence, pocket mobility. He has to be the best, the top 5 in the league at pocket manipulation. If you want to play quarterback for the Browns and stand behind that offensive line, you better be the best pocket manipulator that ever lived. So we get the sack on 2nd and 8, and then 3rd and 16 is what we're faced with. Incomplete pass, of course. And at this point, I was saying to myself, not only does it feel like exactly like when Watson was out there, but this is remnants of the days where, we had the Deshaun Kaisers as the quarterback, the Greg Littles, people like that, Greg Littles of the world playing wide receiver as our number 1 option. Or the times we had, or Travis Benjamin was our number 1 wide receiver, when we all know he's a slot guy, but he's the number 1 because we ain't got nobody else. So like this is kind of what this is reminding me of at this point, especially with all of the Kirk Cousins talks of bringing them in, and I compared him to Jake Delhomme because that's what I think would happen if he comes here and all this other stuff. Anyway, moving on. Bengals get the ball back on their drive. Jamar Chase has an amazing one-handed, like reel the ball in catch. It's absolutely crazy. They need to pay that guy. And they end up scoring on this drive with a pass to Yoshivas. Next Browns drive. The first play. It's more of the same. Basically, is what I have written here. It's pretty much more of the same. They even give a stat where we've gained 17. I mean, excuse me, we've gained 7 yards in 14 plays. At this particular point, we then end up doing like a couple of gadget plays. Quarterback draw gets us a first down. Then the next play, after the quarterback draw gets us a first down, next play, DTR gets sacked yet again, which puts us at 2nd and 18 with about 4 minutes 50 seconds to go in the second quarter. We're facing a 3rd and 12. We get a Dorian Thompson-Robinson scramble for about 3 yards, and then we have to punt with about 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Bengals get the ball, and the defense holds. However, Cade York hits a 59-yard field goal right at the half. So Cade York ends up actually getting the last laugh. At halftime, what was notable, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, passing attempts 3 for 6 for 15 yards. Halftime, DTR, 3 for 6, that's a 50% completion rate, and 15 total passing yards in one half of football. If we switched out the name Dorian Thompson-Robinson and put Deshaun Watson there, I wonder how we would feel about that. Right, moving on. What's crazy is I actually wrote this down because after watching the first half, I was in no rush to see the second half, so I actually took a break to eat. So I missed some of the third quarter. Well, let me ask, I didn't miss anything. Third quarter was going on and I wasn't paying attention to it. So when I take a break to eat, what actually ends up happening is the Browns actually score with about 5 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third. This was after like a pass interference call, something to that nature that had took place. Pass interference call went in our favor. We were able to capitalize off of that. However, Browns have to be the Browns. And after scoring that touchdown, for whatever reason, Dustin Hopkins, after I just gave praise last week for swapping out at the kicker position, for whatever reason, Dustin Hopkins is back. And what does he do? He lets you know he's back by missing the extra point. Same thing he was doing when Watson was the quarterback, mind you. I mean, this is the same thing that was happening then. And I put in my notes, I said at this point, like, why is he even on the roster? Like, why is he? If we was telling Deshaun Watson to leave the facility, we don't even want you in the facility. That's how bad you are. That's how, quote unquote, toxic you are. When, first of all, it wasn't him. It's the fans making him toxic. Keep talking about how much money he making. 230 million. Y'all was the ones that created that toxicity around him. Like, I'm pretty sure him just being him is not creating a toxic environment in the locker room. Like, if it was, it wouldn't have been so many players that was standing up for him, when everybody was cheering him getting hurt. So again, Browns were the Browns. We do score a touchdown. However, we missed the extra point. Next drive for the Bengals, the defense holds. We get the ball back, 17-6 at this point. Browns are driving down the field. DTR has a nice couple scramble runs, maybe a throw here or a throw there. And then lo and behold, we get a break, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson scores on a run. And just like what used to happen when Deshaun Watson was the quarterback, DTR's touchdown run gets called back for holding. Yep. And then you can kind of see Ken Dorsey, they kind of cut to him up in the booth, and you can kind of see him being disgusted with the holding call or whatever, what have you. Again, it's the exact same things that was happening when Deshaun Watson was the quarterback. One in particular, I remember he threw a touchdown bomb it was either Amari Cooper or Jerry Jeudy. He threw a touchdown bomb. Caught it. Great, spectacular play. Call it back, holding. Holding. And then, we're faced with a 2nd and 13 due to that call. Then on this 2nd and 13, we could call for holding again. So we move even further back, 2nd and 21. DTR runs. There's a lot of DTR running and scrambling around. Almost loses the fumble after gaining good yards, because he kind of got hit, and then, ball comes out and then it goes out of bounds. We get, after that run, after the 2nd and 21 run, it cuts the yardage down to 3rd and 7. We're facing a 3rd and 7. DTR gets pressure. Offensive line. DTR gets pressure and throws an interception. Like DTR does. He's an interception machine. He's a scrambling interception machine. The commentator makes mention, and this I actually did agree with from the commentator, says at about the 12-minute mark in the fourth that you got to get a defense credit. Because the defense has kind of been doing their job here. Outside of that first drive, they've kind of been doing pretty good throughout the rest of the game here. After the interception that was thrown on that 3rd and 7, the defense actually ends up holding. So then we get to about 8 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson throws another interception. At this point, I can't help but say to myself, thought this was all Deshaun Watson's fault. Y'all told me, y'all convinced the Browns fans, you convinced all the Browns people, everything is so bad because of the quarterback. It's all the quarterback. He's terrible. His arm's a noodle. He's trash. This was, oh my goodness, the hate for that man, where everything was his fault. Somehow, though, with him long gone in the rearview mirror, ain't played in I don't know how many weeks, we still got the same problems. In fact, we added a problem that we didn't have before, which is constant interceptions. At least he wasn't doing that. At least he wasn't throwing 2 and 3 interceptions every game. That is not a euphemism. That is fact. Every game we're throwing 2 to 3 interceptions. Every game. Without Watson. Okay? My goodness, man. I also made note that I believe at this particular time in the game, Jerome Ford had 90 yards on 10 carries. So again, this is where I talked about having the best Madden player in the world be the person coaching or calling plays. Because if Jerome Ford got 90 yards on 10 carries, the Madden player probably going to be like, you know what, let me run the ball a little bit more. I got this guy got 90 yards on 10 carries. Let me run the ball a little bit more with him instead of throwing the ball with DTR, and he keeps throwing picks. So, yeah, after this interception, the defense actually holds. Yet again, this is crazy. They did the same thing last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. Defense, man, look here. Leave Jim Schwartz and that defense alone. You get to talk about Jim Schwartz and that defense, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. We don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Shut your mouth. That's why Myles Garrett came out and said what he said, and I'm going to talk about that in the next video. I'm going to go over that and all this other garbage and the contradictions that people talk about. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. Okay, so after the defense holds, after we, another interception by DTR. Next drive, we get sacked on a second down. At this point, with everything, we in 4-down territory. So, we get to a 4th and 8. DTR is fighting for his life, it seems like, every time the ball is snapped to him. Same thing I was saying about Deshaun Watson. Seems like he's fighting for his life. Every time he dropped back there, it's like somebody's at him. That's a couple times he bailed a little early, but I can't blame him for being spooked when every time he dropped back somebody in his face, or even when he going back to hand the ball off, the man already back there tackling him. So he can't even hand the ball off to the running back because the defender is already there. That has nothing to do with climbing the pocket and pocket awareness and pocket. You was getting ready to hand the ball off, and you couldn't even hand the ball off because the man already tackling you before you get to the running back to hand him the ball. That's why I talked about the offensive line that last video where I'm talking about, hey, bro, the offensive line is ranked at the bottom of the league, at the very bottom. There's no pocket presence that's about to fix that. Line need to block better. It's just what it is. So in this 4th and 8, while DTR is fighting for his life, he makes this Superman effort. I mean, man, listen here. Ball is life for somebody need to have that highlight reel and play that. They need to play that. Even if that's the only play that Dorian Thompson-Robinson has ever remembered for, I would hold on to that play for the rest of my life. Okay? When my kids ask me that, what did you do in the NFL? I'll be like, look at this right here, son. I'd show them that one play. Look at this. I was the GOAT. Because it was a Superman Herculean effort on 4th and 8 for him to get this first down. I mean, wow, kid. That I gotta tip my hat to you there, man, because you were fighting for it all, kid. That's that, man. They can't say you ain't got heart. You can't say the kid ain't got heart. You can say whatever you want, but you can't say the kid ain't got heart. He got heart. He got heart, cuz the kid got heart. Okay, so after the Superman Herculean effort to get us, the first down on this drive, 2nd and 8. DTR running for his life. Some of it is design running, though. And then, what I perceived to be him fumbling the ball out of bounds turned out to be intentional grounding. So that 2nd and 8 gets turned into 3rd and 20. Excuse me. And then on that 3rd and 20, he gets sacked yet again. Turning into a 4th and 27, in which we throw an incomplete pass. And then on the next drive, Joe Burrow throws a touchdown to Jamar Chase. I could care less if the defense, at this point, if the defense didn't even go back out on the field, or if they just let Jamar Chase run past them and score, I don't even care. I really don't care. This was about 1 minute and 44 seconds left to go in the 4th. Judging based on what the defense saw in the last game with the Kansas City Chiefs, they clearly don't think there's any chance of being able to come back. So, I mean, what does it matter? Like, at that point, like, defense, like, I'd be like, man, let them score. It doesn't matter. And just for all intents and purposes, at that point, I actually stopped watching the game. It's the point in watching it. There's nothing left, nothing else to see there. Nothing left to see. Nothing else to see there. Yeah, just a bunch of hot garbage by the offense and anything that has to do with scoring points. It's just hot garbage. It looks abysmal. And all this time I was told it was the quarterback, that the quarterback was the sole reason as to why all of this stuff was messed up. Or even if they weren't saying it was the sole reason, they were saying it was the biggest part of it. So if it was 100%, they would say it was 70 to 75% quarterback and then 25% everything else. That's not what it looked like to me, because we've gone through two other quarterbacks since him, and both of those quarterbacks look just like him, except they also throwing interceptions. So, in my opinion, I look to see more of this in the remaining two games that the Cleveland Browns have. So, this may end up being the last game review video for this season, for the remainder of this season. But we'll see how it goes. Let's get into the next video. Dogs on the Couch, signing off.